The strange job application. David lived alone on the far edge of the colony. He had a small house, a small garden, and a small problem. He could fight, he could repair machines, he could survive harsh weather, but he could not cook. Every meal he made was either burnt or tasteless, so one day, he opened his old datapad and posted a simple job ad. Cook wanted. Food included. Payment fair. He expected a normal reply, maybe from a worker, maybe from a traveler who wanted some easy credits. He did not expect anything strange. For 2 days, no answer came. Then on the third night, when the twin moons were high in the dark sky, someone knocked at his door. David froze. It was late, and nobody visited at this hour. He placed his hand on his old plasma pistol, but did not draw it. He walked to the door, pressed the scanner. The door slid open with a hiss. At first, he thought it was just a tall woman in a dark cloak. But then he saw her arms. She was holding something small, wrapped in silver cloth. A baby. The child's eyes glowed faint blue, shining softly in the night. David's breath caught. This was not a human woman. Her skin was pale violet, her eyes wide and silver, her voice soft but strange. She said only 3 words. "I saw ad." David blinked. He almost laughed. Was this some kind of joke? But her face was not playful. Her cloak was dirty, her breathing heavy, her steps weak. The baby cried, a sound not fully human, not fully alien, but something in between. "You want the cooking job?" David asked, still shocked. The woman nodded slowly, clutching the child closer to her chest. "Yes, I cook. I need safe place," she said in broken words. David's hand tightened on the doorframe. This was no ordinary job request. This was trouble. Aliens were not welcome in this colony. Many people still feared them, still hated them. If anyone saw her here, he would be questioned, maybe even punished. "Why here?" "Why me?" he asked. The woman looked at him with tired, pleading eyes. "Baby hungry, baby needs safe. I cook, I work. Please." David's heart pulled in 2 directions. One part screamed, "Send her away, close the door, stay safe." The other part whispered, "She is desperate, she needs help." The baby cried louder, as if begging too. David cursed under his breath. "Fine, come inside," he said at last. She stepped in quickly, as if afraid someone might see her. David shut the door and locked it. Inside, the air felt tense. He cleared his throat. "You need to explain," he said. But before she could answer, a sound came from outside. David's head snapped toward the window, through the thin metal shutters. He saw faint lights moving in the distance. Small craft hovering low, searching. His stomach twisted. Someone was out there, looking for her. The woman noticed too. Her body shook as she hugged her baby tight. No safe. "They come," she whispered. David narrowed his eyes. He had seen hunters before, mercenaries who tracked runaways. If they were here, then this alien mother was in far more danger than she admitted. And now, by letting her inside, he was in danger too. He turned back to her. "What are you running from?" he asked sharply. Her lips trembled. "They want my baby," she said. Her voice cracked with fear. "They take him." For study, for weapon. David felt a cold weight in his chest. This was no simple cook, no simple mother. This was the beginning of something bigger. Something that could drag him into trouble far beyond his quiet life. But it was too late to turn back now. The baby's glowing eyes looked up at him, innocent but powerful. The woman's silver gaze begged for trust. And outside, the lights in the sky grew closer. Scanning, hunting. David clenched his jaw. He had only wanted a cook, but what had arrived at his door was a desperate alien mother and her mysterious child. And whoever was chasing them was getting nearer, much nearer, he whispered to himself. "This is going to be bad," the baby cried again, the sound echoing in the small room. And in that moment, David realized one thing. The hunters would hear it, they would come. And his quiet life was already over. A desperate plea. David kept the lights in his house dim. He stood near the window, watching the glowing search beam sweep across the rocky ground outside. The air was heavy, every sound sharp, every shadow dangerous. The alien woman held her baby close. rocking it gently, trying to quiet its strange cries. "Who are they?" David asked in a low voice. The woman looked at him. Her silver eyes filled with fear. "Hunters," she whispered. "They find me. They take my baby. I cannot let them." Her words shook him. David had heard rumors about hunters. They were not official lawmen, not soldiers. They were worse. Paid mercenaries who captured aliens for experiments, for black markets, for cruel buyers. They were ghosts of the colony. Feared by everyone, David clenched his fists. He had not asked for this. He had wanted only a cook. Nothing more, nothing dangerous. But now an alien mother and her child were in his living room. And hunters were outside, searching. "You should not be here," he said, his voice sharp. Her face fell, but she did not move. "I beg you," she said. "I work, I clean, I cook. Only keep safe for my baby." David looked at the baby. Its small body glowed faintly under the silver cloth. The light was weak but alive, almost like a heartbeat. This was no ordinary child. The baby opened its eyes. Blue light spread across the room for a moment. David stepped back, shocked. "What is he?" David asked. The woman pressed her lips tight. "Not safe to say," she whispered. "Too big secret." Outside, the sound of engines grew louder. The hunters were close now, maybe minutes away. David cursed it again. He was trapped. If he threw her out, he would be guilty of cruelty. If he kept her, he would be guilty of hiding an alien. Either way, his life was no longer simple. The baby started crying again. The sound was not normal, not human. It was mixed with strange tones, sharp and echoing, almost like a signal. David's eyes widened. "They'll hear that," he hissed. The woman covered the child's mouth gently, whispering soft words in her own alien tongue. The crying slowed but did not stop completely. David moved quickly, pulling down the window shutters, locking the front door, checking his old pistol. He had promised himself never to use that weapon again. But tonight was different. Tonight his house was a target. The woman's body shook. She was exhausted, hungry, and carrying fear heavier than her own weight. Still, she stood strong. She looked David in the eye and said, "If I die, please." "Protect him." David froze. The words cut through him like a blade. He had no family, no children, no one to care for, and now, this stranger was asking him to guard something more dangerous than anything he had ever known. A glowing alien child hunted by killers. The engines outside stopped. Silence pressed against the walls. Then, a heavy knock thundered on the door. David's heart pounded. The hunters had arrived. "Open up." A rough voice shouted, "We are searching for someone." "Routine inspection." David glanced at the woman. She shook her head fiercely, clutching her baby tighter. "Please, don't let them in," she whispered. Her eyes begged him with more strength than her voice could carry. David's mind raced. If he lied, the hunters might search anyway. If he told the truth, the woman and her baby were doomed, and maybe he would be too. He took a deep breath, then called out, "Who are you looking for?" There was a pause, then the voice came again, cold and sharp. "An alien female, carrying a child, dangerous fugitive. Last seen near this sector." David's blood ran cold. They were not even pretending. They wanted her, and they were close enough now to break the door if he refused. He turned to the woman. She looked ready to run, but there was nowhere to go. Her baby whimpered softly, glowing brighter under the cloth. David cursed under his breath. He shouted back, "No one like that here. Move along." Silence followed. A long, heavy silence that made his skin crawl. Then the voice replied, "Fine, we'll check the next house." Footsteps crunched outside. Fading slowly, engines roared to life again, and the hunters' lights drifted away into the night. David exhaled, his chest burning. He looked at the alien woman. Her eyes shimmered with tears. "You lie for me," she said softly. "Why?" David shook his head. "I don't know," he muttered. But deep down, he did know. He could not let hunters take a child, no matter what it was, no matter what trouble it brought. The woman lowered her hood, revealing her full face for the first time. Her features were sharp, alien, yet strangely human too. She touched her baby's forehead gently. Then she looked at David, her voice shaking. "You need truth now," she said. "My baby. Not like others. He is half human." David's mouth went dry, half human. The glowing eyes of the child looked at him again. Innocent, yet full of something powerful. Something the hunters wanted. Something that could change everything. And David realized the night was far from over. The real danger was only beginning. Hunters in the shadows, the night outside was not silent anymore. Engines hummed low, moving like wolves in the dark. Search beams cut across the rocky ground. The hunters were circling. They had not believed David's lie. Inside the house, David stood by the window. His pistol hung at his side, heavy but ready. The alien woman rocked her baby, whispering in her soft alien tongue. The baby's glow pulsed faintly. Like a living lantern, David frowned. "That light," he muttered. "They'll see it from outside." The woman shook her head. "He cannot stop. It is in him. Not trick, not toy." David pressed his lips tight. This child was more dangerous than any weapon he had ever seen. And yet, it was only a baby. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the air. The ground shook slightly. The lights outside flickered, then focused directly on his house. David's gut twisted. "They know," he whispered. The woman's silver eyes widened. She moved to the corner, hiding with her child behind a crate. Her hands shook, but her body blocked the baby like a shield. David pulled down the shutters and whispered harshly, "Stay silent, whatever happens." The knock came again, but this time it was harder. Bang, bang. "Open the door." The hunters shouted. Their voices were closer, filled with anger. "This is your last chance." David's throat felt dry. He had seconds to decide, fight or talk. But then something strange happened. The baby's glow spread across the room, brighter this time. The air warmed. David felt his heartbeat slow, his fear ease. The baby's light calmed him, almost like a soft voice whispering. "Do not break," David blinked. What kind of power was this? Outside, the hunters shouted again. But now David noticed something else. There were more voices than before. At least 5, maybe more. They were not only at his door. They were moving around, surrounding the house. He cursed under his breath. "They're going to storm in." The woman looked at him, her face pale. "I run too long," she said quietly. "They find me everywhere, always. Now they find you too." Her words hit him harder than the hunter's fists on the door. This was not a random chase. This was something bigger. If they were tracking her across colonies, across borders, then her child was not just valuable, it was priceless. The knock stopped, silence followed, but it was worse than the noise. David's instincts screamed at him. He grabbed the woman's arm. "They're not leaving," he whispered. "They're setting a trap." Suddenly, glass shattered. One of the side windows exploded inward. A hunter rolled inside, masked and armored. Rifle in hand, the woman gasped. Clutching her baby tighter, David fired. The pistol burned with light, the shot slamming into the hunter's chest plate. The intruder crashed against the wall. Groaning, the baby wailed, glowing brighter. Blue light filled the house. Pushing shadows back, David felt the air shift. His skin prickled, his ears rang. The glow was not just light, it was energy. The hunter on the floor screamed, his armor sparked, metal cracking under invisible force. David pulled the woman away, shielding her. "What is he doing?" David shouted. The woman's voice shook. "He cannot control, he only feels fear. Fear makes power grow." Another window shattered. 2 more hunters climbed in, weapons ready. David fired again, hitting one in the shoulder. The other raised his rifle. But before he could shoot, the baby screamed. The sound was sharp, vibrating, not human, not natural. The hunter dropped his weapon, covering his ears, blood dripping from his nose. David dragged the woman toward the back door. "We have to move now," he yelled. The woman nodded, holding her baby close. They ran into the night behind them. Hunters shouted, chasing. The colony outskirts were dark. filled with metal ruins and broken machines. David led her through narrow paths, trying to lose their pursuers, but he knew they would not stop. They had seen the child's power, and now they would hunt even harder. The woman stumbled, nearly falling. David caught her arm, steadying her. "You can't keep running like this," he said harshly. "They'll follow you forever." Her eyes burned with desperation. "Then don't let me run alone," she whispered. "Help me fight." David stared at her, his mind torn. He had lived quietly for years, avoiding war, avoiding danger. But now danger had broken down his door, and a mother and child were in his care. Behind them, lights rose again. Hunters fanned out across the ruins, searching with scanners. Voices echoed through the night. "There! Don't let them escape." David raised his pistol. He looked at the glowing child in her arms, and he made his choice. "No more running," he muttered. "We stand here." The woman's eyes widened. Her child glowed brighter, and the hunters closed in, step by step. The unwanted guests. The ruins echoed with the hunters' shouts. Their scanners lit the night, sharp beams cutting across broken metal and old stone. David pressed his back against a wall, his pistol raised. The alien woman clutched her glowing child tight, her breath heavy. The baby's light dimmed for now, but its soft glow still pulsed like a heartbeat. "They won't stop," David whispered. "They've seen what your baby can do. They'll follow us forever." The woman's silver eyes shone in the dark. "They want him, not me," she said quietly. "But if they take him, galaxy will burn." Her words chilled him. Burn? This was no ordinary fugitive story. This was something bigger, something darker. Before he could ask more, a voice rang out in the distance. "David, we know you're out there." It was deep, sharp, and familiar. David froze. He recognized that voice. The woman looked at him, confused. "Who?" David's stomach twisted. It was Marcus, an old colony officer. Once his friend, now a mercenary leader. They had fought together years ago. Before David left the service, now Marcus hunted him. The hunter's beams swept closer. David pulled the woman into a dark tunnel under the ruins. The tunnel smelled of rust and dust. The walls cracked but strong enough to hide them. The baby whimpered softly, its glow faint under the cloth. "Quiet," David whispered, holding his breath. Voices passed above them, boots crunching on stone. For a moment, silence returned. But David's mind was not quiet. Marcus was leading the hunters, and Marcus knew him too well. The woman sat against the wall, her arms shaking as she held the child. David crouched in front of her, his pistol ready. "Tell me the truth," he said. "What is your baby?" Her lips trembled. She looked down at her child, then back at David. "He is both human and alien," she whispered. "Born from two worlds that hate each other, but inside him is gift, energy older than stars. He can heal, he can break, he can change everything." David stared at the child. "Half human, half alien, a bridge between enemies, or a weapon that could end them all." "You're saying he's dangerous," David said. The woman shook her head quickly. "Not dangerous, only if others take him. They twist him, use him, but if he grows free, he can save." David's chest tightened. He wanted to laugh, to say it was madness, but he had already seen the baby's power. He had felt its light come as fear. He had seen it shatter armor with nothing but a cry. This was no normal child above them. Footsteps echoed again. Marcus's voice cut through the night. "David, you think you can hide? I trained you, remember? You can't win this." The woman's eyes widened. "They know you," she whispered. David nodded grimly. "They know too much." The tunnel trembled as something heavy slammed above. The dust fell from the ceiling. The hunters were bringing machines now, big ones, designed to crush walls and smoke out fugitives. David clenched his teeth. They had little time. But then the woman leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Listen, I work for you, yes, but I am not only cook. I know herbs, roots, food that heals wounds, food that hides glow. I can help if you trust me." David stared at her. She had come answering a cook ad, but she was far more than that. Her cooking was survival. Her meals were medicine. She was no servant. She was a fighter in her own way. Before he could answer, a beam of light stabbed down into the tunnel. Voices shouted, "They're here!" The baby began to cry again, its glow flaring bright. The walls shook as the hunters forced their way in. David raised his pistol, his eyes hard. "Stay behind me," he growled. The woman kissed her child's forehead. Whispering a prayer in her alien tongue, David stepped forward, his shadow cast against the tunnel wall. The first hunter dropped in through the broken roof. David fired, sparks lighting the dark. The fight had begun, and above, Marcus's voice laughed. "You can't run, David. This ends tonight." The secret power the tunnel shook as hunters dropped in one by one. Their boots slammed against the stone, their weapons glowing red. David fired twice. His shots bright in the dark. One hunter fell, another stumbled. But more kept coming, behind him. The alien woman crouched low, shielding her baby. The child's glow pulsed, stronger than ever. Its light filled the tunnel, pushing back the shadows. David felt the heat of it against his back. And then, the baby screamed. It was not the cry of a normal child. It was a sound sharp as glass, heavy as thunder. The tunnel walls shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. The hunters froze, covering their ears. Their visors cracked under invisible force. David's vision blurred. He dropped to one knee, his pistol slipping from his hand. The sound pushed into his skull, into his bones. It was not just noise, it was power. Raw and wild. A storm born inside a tiny body. "Stop him!" One hunter shouted, but his voice broke apart in the roar. The baby's eyes burned bright blue. Energy rippled outward like waves on water. The nearest hunter flew backward, smashing into the wall. His armor sparked, his body limp. The alien mother cried out. She held her baby close, rocking, whispering desperately, "Please calm, my star. Please calm." But the child's glow only grew brighter. The tunnel filled with blue fire. David forced himself to move. His head pounded, his ears rang. But he crawled toward them. "Make it stop," he shouted. The woman's eyes were filled with tears. "He is scared. Fear makes power grow." She screamed back. Hunters stumbled away, some retreating through the roof hole. But more voices echoed above. Marcus's voice, steady and cold. "Don't kill the child. Contain him." Contain, not kill, David realized with horror. They didn't just want the child. They wanted his power. The baby's glow burst again. Blue light shot through the tunnel like lightning. Pipes cracked, stones split, machines outside sparked for a moment. The world felt like it was breaking apart. David grabbed the woman's arm, dragging her into a side passage. "We can't stay here," he shouted. She stumbled but followed. Clutching the crying child, the tunnel twisted, leading them into an old chamber filled with broken machines. The baby's glow lit the room, revealing rust and dust everywhere. David slammed a metal door shut behind them. The noise outside faded. But not for long. Hunters were gathering. And Marcus would not stop. The woman knelt, rocking her child. Her hands shook as she whispered, "He cannot control. He is too small, too young, but power grows." Every cry stronger than last. David leaned against the wall, his chest burning. He had seen many battles, but nothing like this. A baby who could bend walls, shatter weapons, and crush men with sound. No army could fight that, but no baby could survive such power without breaking. "They'll track him," David said, his voice rough. "That glow, that sound, it's like a beacon. They'll follow it across the stars." The woman looked at him, her face pale. "Then we must hide him, teach him, before they take him." Before David could answer, a sharp hiss filled the room. Gas leaked from cracks in the walls. David's eyes widened. "They're flushing us out," he growled. The hunters were pumping smoke into the tunnels, choking them, driving them into the open. The baby whimpered, coughing softly. The woman covered him with her cloak. David tore a broken pipe from the wall, smashing a vent to let some of the smoke escape. But it was only a temporary fix. Then he heard Marcus's voice again. echoing through hidden speakers. "David, listen to me. You can't fight this. You know it. Give us the child, and we'll let you live. You'll have money, safety, peace." The words stabbed deep. Marcus knew him, knew his weaknesses. David had wanted peace for years, hiding from war, hiding from pain, and now that peace was gone, stolen by a baby who glowed like fire. The woman's voice broke his thoughts. "You believe him?" she asked. Her silver eyes were sharp. David looked at her, then at the baby in her arms. The child's glow was weaker now, his tiny chest rising fast, tired from the storm of power. David shook his head slowly. "No, I don't believe him," he said. "He doesn't want peace. He wants control." The woman's lips trembled, but her eyes shone with relief. David picked up his pistol again, checking the charge. Then he looked at her. "If we stay in these tunnels, we die. If we run, they'll track us. We need another way. We need to outsmart them." Her voice was soft, but steady. "Then let me cook," she said. David frowned, confused. But she pulled herbs and powders from a pouch on her belt, strange alien spices, glowing faintly. "Not just food," she whispered. "Smoke, drink, blend. I can hide his glow, mask his energy." Just for a time, David's eyes widened. So she had come as a cook, but her cooking was more than meals. It was survival science, old alien craft. She could turn food into medicine, into shields outside. Hunters shouted, gas pumping stronger into the tunnels. Time was running out. David gritted his teeth. "Do it," he said. "Make whatever you need. And fast." The woman began mixing powders, crushing herbs, her hands shaking but quick. The baby's glow flickered weakly, and David stood guard, pistol raised, hunters closing in, gas rising. Marcus's voice still echoing, but for the first time, David felt something different. Not just fear, not just danger, a plan. Asterisk, the last stand. The tunnels shook as the hunters' machines rolled closer. Metallic groans echoed through the dark. Gas hissed through cracks, thick and choking. David covered his mouth with his sleeve, his pistol tight in his hand. The alien mother worked quickly, crushing herbs, mixing powders. Her hands trembled but did not stop. Blue smoke rose from her small bowl. Strange and sharp, she spread it across the baby, whispering words in her alien tongue. Slowly, the child's glow dimmed. The light inside him softened, hidden under the strange smoke. David blinked in surprise. "It works," he muttered. The woman gave a weak nod. "Not long," she said. "Only short time, then glow returns. But maybe enough." David crouched beside her. "Enough for what?" Before she could answer, the wall above exploded. Stone and metal crashed down. Hunters dropped in, armored, rifles raised. The chamber filled with red light from their visors. David fired fast, shots cracking the air. One hunter fell, another staggered, but there were too many. The alien mother screamed as one rifle fired. The blast missed David but struck her side. She fell, clutching her wound. The baby wailed, his glow flaring again. The smoke cover broke, blue light spilling through the chamber. David's chest tightened. No, no, no. The glow surged, the baby's power rising uncontrolled. Hunters stumbled back as the energy rippled outward. Marcus's voice cut through the chaos. "Careful. Don't kill them. Contain the child." David dragged the woman behind cover, blood on her cloak. Her face was pale, sweat shining on her skin, but she still held her baby, still shielded him with her arms. "Leave me," she gasped. "Take him. Run." David shook his head violently. "No, I'm not leaving you." The baby's cry split the air again. Hunters screamed, their armor cracking under the force. But David saw the danger. The energy was wild, unstable. It could kill everyone, even the child himself. Marcus dropped into the chamber at last, tall, armored, his visor glowing red. He carried no rifle, only a staff pulsing with strange tech. "David," he called, his voice steady. "You're wasting your life for them. Give me the child." "I'll spare you." David raised his pistol, his eyes burning. "You've lost your mind." Marcus stepped closer, his staff humming. "You don't understand. This child is the future. With him, we can rule. No one will stop us. Not humans, not aliens." The baby's glow burned brighter. Marcus raised his staff and the light bent toward it. David's eyes widened. "They're draining him," he shouted. Marcus smirked under his visor. "Exactly," the baby screamed louder. The staff pulling his power, the mother cried out, crawling weakly toward Marcus. "No! Leave him!" David fired, shot after shot. Sparks flying off Marcus's armor, but the staff kept pulling. The child's glow dimmed, his cries softer, weaker. David's chest burned with rage. He dropped his empty pistol and charged. Slamming into Marcus, grabbing the staff, they struggled. Sparks flying between them, Marcus's voice roared. "You can't win, David. You never could." David growled, "Watch me." The baby's glow flared again. Blue light flooded the chamber. Marcus's staff shook, cracking under the surge. The energy burst outward. Hunters fell screaming. Walls split, machines shattered. David and Marcus were thrown apart. The staff snapped in two, smoking. Marcus staggered to his feet, helmet cracked. His face bleeding, he snarled, his eyes burning with fury. "This isn't over," he spat, retreating into the shadows with his surviving men. The chamber fell quiet, except for the baby's weak sobs. David stumbled to the woman's side. Her wound was bleeding fast, her hands trembling. But she still smiled faintly. "You protect him," she whispered. "You choose fight, not peace." David pressed his hand on her wound. Desperate. "Don't talk like that. You're not dying." "Not here." The baby reached out with a tiny glowing hand. His light touched her wound. For a moment, David watched in shock as the bleeding slowed. The glow sank into her skin, knitting flesh together. Her breathing steadied, weak but alive. David stared at the baby, healing, not just destroying. The child's gift was both life and death in one small body. Above, more engines roared. The hunters were regrouping. David lifted his pistol again, his jaw tight. He looked at the woman. He looked at the glowing child, and he whispered, "We make our last stand here." The woman's silver eyes burned with the same fire. She nodded, holding her baby close. David stepped forward into the smoke, pistol raised, hunters closing in. Marcus's voice echoing from the dark, and the baby's glow rising once more. Asterisk humanity's choice, the ruins burned with smoke and fire. Hunters regrouped above, their engines roaring like thunder. David stood at the center of the broken chamber, pistol raised, chest heaving. Beside him, the alien mother clutched her baby close, her silver eyes blazing with pain and love. The child's glow pulsed brighter, stronger than ever. Blue light spilled across the walls. Bending shadows, every cry shook the ground. Every breath carried power that could change the world. Marcus's voice boomed from the darkness. "David, you've fought enough. Give me the child and live. Fight me, and you die." David's jaw tightened. He had heard that voice on battlefields years ago. A commander, a friend, now only a hunter chasing power. He shouted back, "You call this life? You call this survival? It's slavery." Silence, then laughter echoed. Marcus stepped into the chamber, his cracked helmet gone, his scarred face twisted with rage and hunger. Behind him, hunters spread out, weapons raised, surrounding them. David aimed his pistol, but he knew there were too many. He could kill some, but not all. Not without the child's power. The baby stirred, glowing brighter in his mother's arms. Energy rippled outward. Hunters staggered, their weapons buzzing under the pressure. Marcus raised a broken half of his staff. Wires sparking, he aimed it at the baby, shouting, "Now! Drain him!" The hunters moved as one. David fired, dropping two, but more pressed forward. The alien mother cried out as blasts of red light rained toward them. David shielded her, pain searing his arm. He fell to one knee, pistol slipping, blood dripping from his sleeve. Marcus strode closer. "You can't stop this. David," he hissed, "stand aside, and history will remember you as the man who handed me the future." David looked at the baby, glowing brighter than fire, at the mother, shaking but unbroken, and then at Marcus, blinded by greed. His voice was raw, but steady. No. History will remember the man who said no. The baby's glow surged, filling the chamber with blinding blue. Hunters cried out, shields breaking, weapons failing. Marcus staggered but held his ground. His staff sparking wildly, the air shook, stone cracked. Machines exploded, but David did not run. He stepped forward, reaching for the child. The mother's silver eyes met his. She understood without words. She placed the glowing baby in David's arms. "Protect him," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Show him what human means." David cradled the child. The glow surrounded him, wrapping his body in light. He felt it inside him, warmth, fear, love, rage, all at once. It was not just power, it was choice. Marcus roared, charging, his staff raised high. But David lifted the baby, and the child's glow exploded. Not in anger, not in fear, but in peace. Blue waves spread outward, hunters froze in their tracks, their weapons falling from numb hands. The smoke cleared, fire faded, even Marcus stopped. His body trembling under the light, David felt the baby's gift flow through him. The pain in his arm vanished, wounds closed, strength returned. He stood tall, the child glowing in his arms. The light touched Marcus too. His scars faded, his armor cracked, but his face twisted in rage. "No! I don't want peace." He screamed, "I want power." The glow surrounded him anyway. For a moment, David saw Marcus's face soften, the rage fading, the man he once knew flickering back. But then Marcus tore himself free with a roar. He stumbled backward, retreating into the shadows with his broken men. "Another time, David," he spat. "This isn't over." The hunters fled. Engines roaring, the chamber fell quiet. Only the glow of the child remained, soft now, gentle, like starlight. David looked down at him, the baby's eyes, part human, part alien, gazed back, no longer wild, no longer afraid, only calm. The mother leaned against the wall, her wound weak but healing. Her voice was soft. "You see now," she whispered. "He is not weapon. He is bridge." David nodded slowly. He held the baby close, and for the first time in years, he felt hope outside. The night sky stretched endless. The colony lay silent, unaware of what had begun in the ruins. A cook job ad had become the spark of something greater. Not the end of peace, but the beginning of it. David whispered to the child, "You won't be their weapon. You'll be our future." The baby's glow pulsed gently in answer, and the long night finally gave way to dawn.